Good morning, everyone. Thanks for being here. I'm Omri. It's the second time that I'm here in Da Nang, Vietnam. So thanks for having me. I was here in November 2017 and I ran a workshop with the DNES team. So I want to thank them for inviting me again, for Mr. Bang and for the one and only Ian. That makes me feel at home when I'm away from home. I started my romance with computers. It wasn't called high-tech back then. In the early 1980s, I went through a first course in computers, immediately fell in love with it. Then I got my first PC and stayed at home for a week just playing with it. Didn't even go to school because I find it so interesting. I want to know from you guys in the audience, how many of you are working in startups? Please raise your hand so I know. Great. How many of you are founders or co-founders of the company? With your hands? Great. And are you raising seed money right now? Hands? No. Are you gonna raise money soon? Okay. It's gonna be interesting to see. So, when life gives you lemons, you can make lemonade. It's a well-known phrase that we use that really helps us to take whatever feedback we get, whatever things that are being thrown at us. There are two options. We can either be depressed from it, be discouraged from it, or we can try and find what good can we make out of it. It could be a feedback, it could be someone, a customer losing us, so maybe we can ask him, why did you decide to lose? So, always try and find how you can grow from failures that you have. I, by the way, have been fortunate enough to be part of funding 4 companies. 2 have failed completely, and 2 have been acquired. So learning from failure is something that we do. And talking to the Ho Chi Minh Academy on Monday, one of the professors talked to me after the session and said, how are you guys taking losing so easy? And I had to stop him and tell him, it's not about losing. Failure is failure, losing is losing. Because when I'm failing, it means that I've done something and I haven't succeeded in that. And that's okay, I can learn from it. And when you talk about it as losing, it kind of suggests that something was taken away from you. Nothing was taken away from me. I simply did not succeed. And if I learn from it, then I can actually gain something. When raising seed, I know it's new, right? And I know it can be difficult. And probably most of you think that VCs are maybe asking too much out of you. And getting those no's can be really discouraging, so you try and avoid the discouragement part. I know how it feels to raise money, because I've raised seed money. And I know how it feels and what it takes to invest, a seed investment in a company. So I can pretty much give you the 2 ends of the same stick that can really help. So sometimes it is that the funding process is perceived as a communication that is mostly either one way or sometimes maybe one against each other. Well, it shouldn't be. It should be a process, it should be something that is being discussed and open. You should also know that ideas are just not enough. Everybody has an idea. Everybody maybe even have a good idea. The gap between taking the idea and making it a reality, building a company, maybe even quitting your day job, investing some of your money, maybe. Definitely not getting a salary is investing your money. And it's a huge difference between just an idea and how you want to create the company. So you should really help each other. You should know that many of the startups, many of your founders, your co-founders that you meet, they all struggle with the same questions, so try and help each other out. And from the experience of working with entrepreneurs in Vietnam, thinking big is good, but they sometimes think of it as thinking into growing into the European or US market, where you have Southeast Asia. It's big enough. try and focus on bringing value to the ecosystem that you know. It's taking a lot. Okay, so what are you looking for when you're raising money, right? You're looking for a partner that would give you money in order for you then to make money. Sounds simple. You're also looking for partners, right? Partners that you can learn from, that you can trust. But you're also looking for partners that you will enjoy working on, because it's going to be a very long ride. It's going to be typically between 5 to 7 years before you can see any results, any returns on your money. And think carefully who you go to bed with, because you will be spending a lot of time with them. You want to take money, and that's good, but you also want to make money, and don't forget that you're in this business to make money, as Jen mentioned. It's not about creating a business that may support you, your family, and may even make good money. But when we talk about startups, we need big returns. You also want to validate. You want to validate your idea. You want to validate your market, and you want to validate that your solution is making a change. I know from experience, and you probably will agree with me, that being in a startup is a roller coaster. It's not easy. So make sure that you are spending your time on the right project. Going? Okay. 90% of these investments will fail. Okay? Bear that in mind. That really explains how we look at things and why we do things the way we do them. So, as a VC, we're basically looking to give you money because we want to make money out of the company later, right? We want the confidence that you will be building something that is substantial, that you have a great team that we will enjoy working with. Super, super important. If you have a good idea, if you have a good company, good numbers, but it's not easy working with you, or you take criticism the wrong way, you're not open enough, it sometimes will lead to non-investment on our part. And we also want validation. We want validation that you're in a big market. Remember, 90% of our investments will fail. So the wins we have should be big enough to cover for our losses. We want to have a validation that the market is big. We want to have a validation that you are the right team to do it. So we should agree that what we are looking for as VCs are quite the same to what you are looking for as an investor, as an entrepreneur. So it's not about one against the other, it's about an open dialogue that will help you secure that money. So, a few tips about how you can take the no's that you get and turn them into something that you can learn from it, to a knowledge. So first of all, no's, you will get a lot of no's. That's okay, it's part of life. Get on with it, grow an armor, and move on. Pay attention though to what you're being told. You don't just say, okay, that's a no, I'm disregarding it. Pay attention. And there are commonalities between those no's. So take them into consideration, change your presentation, maybe better understand your market, maybe even change the solution. So don't disregard them. Just don't let it discourage you. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Sometimes it's not about you, it's about us. We meet a lot of companies, sometimes 3 or 4 a day, and I don't know, maybe I've just had a bad day at work or at home, and you just come in and I don't have the energy, and the meeting didn't go well. So sometimes it's not about you. And it is a numbers game. So you're going to want to meet VCs. You don't just suffice with 2, 3. And I'm going to show you how you can do it. So plan it, please. It's something that you should do, you should think about, you should work on, and not just do it like something else that you're doing. So what you want to do is you want to make a list of the VCs that you want to meet. Prioritize them by the VCs that you think you can close, not but the ones that you would want them to invest in you. So, because we all want Greylock to invest in us, Sequoia, Bessemer, the big names. But it may not be the right case either for you or for them. Understand at which stage they're investing. How much are they investing? Do they have companies that compete with your solution that may not be a good fit then? And verticals. If you're in, let's say, in medical devices, and they don't invest in medical devices, that's not a fit. So understand who is the VC that is best for you. Use your networks, talk to your peers. Find out how is it like to work with that VC. See? Okay. So it should look something like this. You got your A list, your B list, your C list, typically between 8 to 10 on the A and Bs, and the C list can be longer, so you can work with. And you want to analyze your A's and your B's. And by the way, we are looking to be impressed. We want you guys to succeed, because when you succeed, we succeed. So impress us. Validation. I think Jen also touched that. So, you know, it's obviously being in a startup. So make sure that you're spending your time. It's not about just validating the market, the solution, the problem, because I as a VC need it. You need that validation even more than I do. Because you're spending your time, you're spending your money, you better make it work. And if you're in the B2B or in the B2C, it doesn't always the same. They're not made the same. So validation will be totally different between a B2B company and a B2C company, and I'll tap that in a second. When you talk to people, it's good to validate even before you have a product, because sometimes you just want to begin, so you talk to a lot of people. And that's the first validation that you can have. Just make sure that when you ask people direct and close questions, what they'll tell you they'll do is sometimes totally different than what they do. So try and use open questions like, what are the problems that you have had when you are, let's say, recruiting people? Was it easy for you to recruit students? Don't ask, are you recruiting students? How difficult it is. Let them state problems and read between the lines. And please, validations always speaks about you, about your capabilities to actually deliver and perform. So I want to share with you an experience I had just this session that we did with DNES. So this guy came up and introduced this company. It was about HR tech, recruiting students. And I was going, oh, not yet, another HR recruiting marketplace. I've seen so many. It's so crowded, it's going to be so difficult to succeed. So I went over his slides. And when he came to his traction slide, I was like, whoa, wait. You got 20,000 students already using your platform? More than 400 people, companies are posting jobs. So it immediately, lowered all my barriers. It's not about me anymore. It's not about what I think. It's not about can he. It's about he did it. He made it. That's validation. And our entire conversation is about how you did it. Can you scale? It's not about, is it gonna succeed? Totally different ballgame. In terms of the VC, what are we looking for validation? Pretty much the same thing. It's a thing that gets shit done, right? Because they've made validation, they've made progress. When you can see traction in reality, all the questions just dissolve and you're now into the next phase of the conversation. How much am I going to invest in this company? What will my return be? And stuff like that. And when users are actually voting with their fingers, they're paying. So again, the question is then gone. They are paying, they are using. Validation is a check. And definitely we enjoy working with people that gets achievement, that understand that it's not about talking. It's not about what you're going to do with the money that I give you. It's about how you're going to do it, because you've already made progress. And that really creates a different conversation all around. So validation wasn't born equal. I'm going to do this really quickly because they took 10 minutes of my time. So for example, because I get this question a lot. What does it mean? Give me the numbers, the ballparks about the validation. So if you're a B2B company, Then if you have a design partner, that's a company that is working with you, that is implementing your solution, and it's giving you feedback, and then you can, change and better develop the product, that's good. If you got 2 to 3 POCs, amazing. If they're paid POC is even better, proof of concept, right? So they actually testing your solution. You gotta have your MVP. It's gotta be the minimum viable product. It doesn't have to be the full-blown product. Something that we can work with and test the ideas. And pipeline. Pipeline are the deals that are coming through. Early negotiations with companies that may result into either a POC or something that is going to be even a paid contract. So with B2B, we want to see the trajectory. Whereas with B2C, we want to see proof, real proof. The product has to be slick, something that is amazing. By the way, the presentation should also look amazing. Because otherwise, how would you impress users if you haven't invested enough in your presentation? Has to look slick. And traction. We need growth. We need numbers, big numbers, specifically with the rate that you're going. So a 10% growth week over week would be amazing. And if you go even 10% month by month, that's also good. Bear in mind, if you got 90 users, 100 users, okay, but it's not really validation. It's a good start. And we also want you to see that how you're going to make money out of that, specifically with consumers. Because with business, it's easier to understand. With consumers, gone are the days where you could just say, hey, I'll get 1 million users on my platform. They will use it every day, and then we'll find a way how to make money. Doesn't work anymore. Worked 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. Trust me on that. I'm going to skip this one because we don't have a lot of time. Please know your numbers. Please know your numbers. And by numbers, I mean, if you haven't got those numbers in your head, then it's a saying, you're just above in an opinion. And we don't invest in opinions. We don't invest in maybes. We invest in hard truth. And be honest with yourself. How can you measure what you're doing if you don't know the numbers? And we talked about being honest, right? So no vanity metrics. So if you've got, let's say, 1 million downloads, but at the end of the day, only 10% of the users are using your app, not good. Don't talk to me about 1 million downloads. We know what we're doing, and so should you. And I get this a lot with the benchmarks. So people come in, they talk to me, they say, listen, let's say our website is converting visitors to paying users on the benchmark of 3.5%, on the top range of the benchmark. You know what I say? Benchmark are averages. We don't invest in average. We invest in someone that beats the average. You need to excel. You need to do good things and better than everybody else. Because guess what? You're competing with everybody else. So make it work. I'm going to skip this one, but I am going to tell you that I had a company come in to us about 2 months ago. They had this very nice project, good numbers, good traction, but when I got into the details of the numbers, the CEO, and I've met this guy twice, the CEO was stumbling. He's like, so I'm Israeli, I'm easygoing, I'm not formal. I said, open your laptop. I have time, it's good. He opened his laptop, spent 2-3 minutes on his Excel, and he couldn't explain it to me. You know what happened? I didn't invest in him. Whereas if he had the numbers in his head, or he at least have opened the Excel and could have explained it to me, he would get an investment. So know your numbers, please. How much should you raise? You should know how much you raise. Make it real. Jen talked about the standards in Northern America, pretty much the same that we do in Israel. They're a little lower in Vietnam, but no wait. It has to be enough for 1.5 to 2 years because of the value of that. And you need time, and it will usually take you longer than you think. So what happens if you run out of money because you didn't really plan? The company will get closed. Not good. So take that. And usually a seed round or everyone would share you between 15 to 25% even. Anything above 25, It's not that good, but hey, if it's a make or break for you, if it's the only money that you can take the offer. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about behind the scenes, share you and let you know some tips from the process from within. Start your meetings, your VC meetings, with 2 or 3 of your B-list VCs. Why? Because you want to test drive how you do your presentation. Trust me, it's different when you talk to yourself and when you stand up in front of the VC and then you stumble, and so lose those B-lists. If you've got a very close AVC and it's a friend, talk to them. It's going to be good. Be open. Don't be defensive, and never, ever, ever be offensive. And by defensive, I mean, if I have a criticism, if I have a question that seems like I'm thinking that you haven't done what you should have, don't try and get excuses. That's not what we're here for. I'm here to tell you what I think. You should take that feedback and then move on. You can explain. You can say, listen, we learned from it, but don't make excuses. We just don't like it. First meeting will probably be friendly. And if it's not friendly, then you've met with the wrong people. People just should be friendly. But it doesn't mean that the VC is engaged. If you just want to be nice with people, right? You want to know how you can tell if a VC is engaged? At the end of the meeting, we usually write a summary report. And then we want to decide if we want to move it to another partner or another person in the VC. So when we write it down, we may have some questions, some numbers, some traction, things that I've lost along the way. And if we get follow-up questions, that means the VC is engaged. So make sure to get back to them as soon as you can. Don't take the time. It's not a dating thing. It's not a dating game. Get back to them as soon as you can. You want to be eager. You want to be that guy that they want to work with because he closes deals. Don't be shy to ask. If someone's telling you we're not going to invest, ask why. Worst comes to worst, you'll get an answer. And you will learn from it. And I really like those founders that ask me specifically why I did not invest in them. It goes to show me this is a team that can actually make it. You should meet with more than one partner, because an investment is made through an investment committee. So the partners raise their hands and decide to invest in a company. And if you've got one hand, it's going to be difficult. But if you've met with at least another partner in the investment committee, then you've got 2 hands. Totally different game for you guys. And you are competing against other deals. I've had numerous times where I had to let go of opportunities just because they weren't as good as the opportunities we were working on. Had they come to us 2 months earlier, we may have invested. So it's simple, but it's true. Again, don't let it discourage you. Check it out. Ask them. Are they working on other deals right now? Try to get to the bottom of it. And if you are progressing with a VC, DD them, due diligence them. Talk to CEOs that they have invested in. If you don't know them directly, ask the VC, can I please speak to 3 CEOs that you've invested in? It will make all the difference in the world. And a little bit about my experience working with the Vietnamese entrepreneurs. They're very energized, and that's good. They want to get out there, they want to conquer the world, and I really like that. You also guys make a lot of progress with little to no budget. That's amazing. That also goes to show you the entrepreneurship value that you can get out there. I know that you do lack the access to experts, but you've got the online community, you can watch some webinars, so don't just tell me I can't get access of experts. Email them. Maybe they'll answer you. So try and do that. You guys are super modest. You are too modest. Another example that I have is with a company that we met last year. They were doing ride shares between work and home. And this guy was standing on the stage and saying, we only got 4% of the market. So what? Wait. With little budget, just 1 year, you already have 4% of the market? That's amazing. Be proud of what you achieved. Again, we want to see that you can get things done. So being modest means that maybe you don't really understand what you're doing. So please. Network, talk to each other, talk to your friends, go to shared workspaces. They're there to get you going, to get you to talk. And I often seen two companies sitting next to each other that they can even cooperate, but they haven't really talked to each other. So please do it. And I've mentioned this, think big, that's okay. It doesn't mean that you have to go to the US or the European market. You've got Southeast Asia, that's more than enough. So I hope I have, that I've convinced you that it's not a one against the other process. It's an open discussion and conversation. You actually can convince and change the way that we, the VCs, are looking and perceiving you. Thank you very much.